Chosen.
Is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Caffeine Bros podcast with your hosts. That's Jared. I'm Asa. We're so glad to have you here with us today. Jared, how are you doing?
Doing pretty good. Just enjoying this nice 70-degree weather here in Arizona. How about yourself?
Oh, we had freezing rain this morning here, so just another day in paradise, truthfully. But couldn't be much better. Couldn't be much better. What are we sipping on today?
I'm doing the Rise NED. What about yourself?
I have a Rise Kool-Aid, just the regular, not the grape.
Okay.
You want to do us honors here? Take a few sips. Tell us what you think.
Sure, I'll do. So yeah, I've had this one before, but as well, I think Rise is best. Might argue Rise is best flavor in my opinion. I'm gonna give it a solid 8.5 out of 10. I think it's I don't like pushing it up into the 9 and 10 range because I've had it so long. I think if I would have initially had it, it would have probably hyped up at a consistent 8.5 out of 10 for me.
Yeah.
Every time I have it, it's probably their best flavor in my opinion. Like I said, Rise makes. I think it beats out Frosted Lemonade, Root Beer Float. The grape Kool-Aid's probably right up in there too, but I still think this one takes it. I give it an 8.5 out of 10. The overall orange taste is great, and if you have it for a nice little breakfast, solid.
Dude, you can't beat it for a drink with your breakfast, dude. It's easily the best, unmatched, absolutely unmatched.
Yep. And what about yourself? What do you rank this Kool-Aid here? You get a couple sips in. I'm sure you've had it before as well.
Yes, I have. Thank you, Jared. See, the smell smells just like Kool-Aid, dude. It smells like everybody's dream here. My inner fat kid goes crazy when I can get a whiff of the original Kool-Aid here, but I think similar to your case, obviously, like you said, I've had it before. Not one of my favorites, though. This is going to be a pretty brutal rating, so I'm sorry if this offends anybody, but this is going to be a 6.2 at most for me. It's got hints of a Kool-Aid taste, but it's just not as authentic as a Rise Sunny D is. You know what I'm saying? In terms of that nostalgic flavor hit.
Yeah.
Will I drink it? Sure. Will it be my first choice any day of the week? Absolutely not. But that doesn't mean I won't still pick it up if it's a last case scenario for a drink. So not mad about it, but not necessarily happy about it, kind of where I sit. So I think that's fair, in all honesty.
I think so.
Jared, what are we doing today, big dog?
We're going to talk about 10 exercises that we would like to do, or if you had to do for the rest of our life, what would they be? And we're going to start from the head down and kind of go from there to make it easy and simple to follow along. We're going to give an explanation about why we like that exercise. Also a rule we're making for ourselves, if we have the same one, we have to pick our second exercise that we would take in that same area, whether it be shoulders, arm, biceps, triceps, legs, anything like that. So just to make it interesting, give a little variety here too. So Asa, you want to kick it off? We're going to start off with some shoulders.
Dude, absolutely. So I know conventionally speaking, I think a person would always say, give me a dumbbell shoulder press, give me a Arnold press. I'm not conventional when I think, never have been, never will be. I really, really, really enjoy a standing machine lateral raise. You put your weight in it, you have your two handles in front of you, fully controlled. I think that has done more for me in my career as an amateur bodybuilder than any other exercise, just because you hit everything else so frequently when you're hitting a chest or you're hitting literally anything else if it's a back for your rear delts. So I think number one exercise for me is going to be machine standing lateral raises. Final answer.
Nice. That is a very good one. I think that the variance you can do within the heights and then the handle grips going forward on them can also make a different variation in that exercise. I personally lately, it's been the incline lateral raise. You lay down on the bench and you lateral raise from there.
Yeah.
I've been liking that one a lot just because I think partially with my shoulder being slightly more pronated, it allows me to get up and out, but keep myself back so I keep from anything else into the movement.
Yeah.
So that's why I really enjoy that one. What would you say your tricep exercise would be?
Dude.
Start in the back of the arm.
Yeah, I love hitting triceps, dude. It's probably one of my favorite body parts outside of legs, funny enough, which is really ironic. But if I'm going with just all reliable. You know, put me in it every time. Give me a close grip Smith machine bench. Reason being, I
Okay.
enjoy the controlled movement of a Smith machine. So I think being able to have something that controls your bar pattern, so you don't have to do any of it, as well as being able to load a little bit more weight on it because that bar is a little bit lighter, so it allows you to get into some different situations to control it. And I just like the way your grip can kind of sit with it as you go down on most Smith machines. So I'm going to take Smith machine close grip bench.
Do you run into the issue ever with it, like where, like, depending on the places you're at, some of them have the wider grip or the wider bar, sorry,
Yeah.
and some of them have a normal bar. Do you ever have to adjust anything for that for yourself either? So if anyone's at like, so Vasa for me has a different Smith machine bar across there. It's thicker comparatively to when I go to my other gym, Muscle Factory. It's more like a normal bench. That might play a factor if anyone were to try it. Do you like
Yeah.
do you have to adjust your hands at all for that for yourself, or is it all the same for you?
Yeah, I'll say so. Of the three places I train up here, Edge has like a thick bar Smith machine, and when that's the
Yep.
case, I typically have to go just a tish wider. I do believe just for my own ease of grip and ease of like just control. But Evolution Fitness, best gym in Fargo, North Dakota, put that on the map right there. They have a narrow bar and it's a little bit lighter, so I like the controlled pattern with that. And typically with that, I line up right where those rings start. That's where my pointers sit, and just keep my elbows nice and tucked with a little bit of a flare, obviously, when you need it. But
Are you doing suicide grip or normal grip?
dude, as bad as it is, I do suicide grip on every single thing I do, man. Every single, and it's gonna get me one day. I know it is, but I literally grab a bar and my hands tucked like this. It's never in front to protect. It's
Oh, we're-
always just, oh, let's go. So
I gotcha. Mine would, since there's a little bit of variation you can do with it, is a dumbbell skull crusher. I personally like those because you can work it into an incline or a flat, and then you can angle each arm's getting individual movement with each dumbbell, and you don't necessarily need to go heavy with it either. And it allows you to, if you slide back with the bench, you can use the bench as kind of a stopping point to push off as well. I think it allows a little bit more of the to get more balance in both triceps because you're moving the same amount of weight comparatively to a cable machine or anything else. So that's personally what my one would be, is a dumbbell skull crusher.
would you have any tips for, say, someone that's just trying them out? Say they have a little bit of an imbalance, just because most people when we start, you do have a little bit stronger of a side. Is it just a matter of going a little bit lighter overall until you get comfortable with that motion, or is there a trick you've learned that kind of helps you stay intact when you're doing them?
I always say start off with it lighter, like, and then think about like everyone's shoulder mobility and elbows and everything are gonna be slightly different for like where their starting point is at. So I always just kind of kick it up like that and then move my arms slightly back and then tuck them and then go from there and push up. Otherwise, another one, starting on a decline, if you don't feel comfortable with holding the dumbbells by your head, you start on a decline because then that way you can just drop it. If you have an issue, you drop it behind you and you don't have to worry about messing up anything like your shoulders or elbows or anything like that too. You can start with a decline position to get used to the movement, and then you can get into a flat or an incline after you get a little more comfortable with it.
Yeah.
But that'd probably be my take on that. But
Dude.
yeah.
Killer movements so far. I guess I'll take next and go into biceps. I'm assuming is that we're going to run a roll next.
Yeah, let's do it.
I think personally, and this is just an old reliable again, I think doing a seated incline dumbbell curl is going to be my pick here. Rationale behind it. I am a firm believer that your arms will grow tenfold when you take your legs out of them. That's just what I've seen and what I've felt and what I believe personally. So being able to sit and like use your legs as like a driving factor, but not relying on them for like extra oomph when you're trying to pick up a set or you're trying to get a little heavier, trying to go a little bit stronger, I think allows your biceps to take a little bit more control of the exercise. And I also like, kind of to your point with your skull crushers on an incline bench, you can kind of manipulate that incline slightly to really either get a better pump if you're just not feeling it as upright, or if you're just not as comfortable and you need to have a little bit further back. Like there's so many different ways you can kind of adjust that bench to make it work for you. So final answer, incline dumbbell curl.
I agree. Do you do more of a hammer grip, or are you doing more of this normal traditional curl grip when you're doing them? There's the variations that you can do with those, obviously.
Yeah, I'm more of a like the supinated grip kind of guy. Like my big thing is
Grip.
keeping it strict like this. There's nothing wrong with taking and turning as you come up and curl with them. However, I've just seen in my own physique more development when I keep it more strict to one pattern of following. So yeah, typically it's like a supinated grip, arms tucked to the sides, curl up, slow down.
Mine, that's kind of the unconventional one. It's kind of old school. Is actually the traditional Arnold curl. I like the best. When you grab the back of the bench and then your arms not on anything, you curl it this way across and let your arm go down. I think the amount of tension I get on that upper part of the peak of the bicep whenever I get in there, it's like nothing else that I do with cables or anything like that. And I really enjoy that one. Whether, it doesn't hit everything in the bicep necessarily, but my contractions for me where I feel it work the best with Arnold curls. And that's always kind of been a staple in my arm days, going in there, whether it's a cable version of it or a dumbbell version. I personally like the dumbbell version because a lot of gyms don't have the correct cable set up to do it all the time either because how low you are and stuff with it. But it is very good exercise in my opinion. I do like that one a lot.
It's kind of similar to my last question for triceps. Any cues you would give somebody that's like maybe not even just a first time lifter, but say a first time individual in the gym trying that movement, like they've been actively lifting, but just to get set up. If you were to walk somebody through it in your mind, how would they do it with pretty much ease? If you're just get them going.
I'd have them set up like they're doing a dumbbell row on the back of the bench, and I'd have them drop their arm straight down, and then think about just bringing the bicep to the center part of their chest, or the curl, sorry, to the center part of their chest, and then lower it down slowly, but making sure it's controlled from the elbow and not swinging anywhere. So then that way, that's when you start adding everything else into it comparatively when you just want to pull with your bicep over that. But I think your starting position is going to start like a dumbbell row where you grab the back of a bench. Like you're going to pull, but this time you're just going to curl it instead of pull.
Yeah.
That'd be the way I'd start it.
That's a great way. That's definitely a really good cue to get somebody moving the right direction.
Yes, sir. So that's 3. There we got our first 3 out of the way. What are you doing for forearms?
Oof. All right, dude. That's hit me with a tough one here. I'm going to be super transparent. I don't hit a lot of forearms. I've definitely made it more of an effort to try to hit them. You wouldn't know that by looking at my physique right now, but there's been an effort. We have a machine at Evo. It's literally something you sit on and you literally grab it and squeeze, and it's all about just the motion of just working the pure flexors in your forearm. I've really been rocking with that just simply because I'm not just the biggest fan, in my own opinion, of just like doing a forearm roll of any sort. I like something where I can actually have added weight to make it difficult to move. So I don't know the proper name of the machine by any means, but it's definitely just like a forearm curl. You're just sitting there squeezing this with added plates or 25s or 10s or whatever that may be you're doing.
Yeah. I think it's a grip machine, they call it, or whatever. You squeeze it and you add it to the front of there. Mine, I actually do it on the cable stack. So I start with it and I grab the straight bar and let it roll to the top of my fingers. I curl it in with my fingers and then I bend my wrist down to get the added. So I curl it and then I squeeze it, like do a reverse curl kind of down, but I don't go past that point. I do the same thing, stop there, and then roll my fingers and then back up. And that usually gets this backside of your tricep pretty burning after, you do 50, 60 pounds on that for some reps. That's pretty, and you do the slow control. You can't just keep letting it fly up on you. You got to control it from here, let it roll, take it, roll, squeeze back down. That one's been my favorite lately. I do that to finish off all my arm days, and then I do it on my back day as well. Kind of work with the grip a little bit. I also have that grip machine at my Gym Muscle Factory. Don't use it as often. Sometimes it's I feel like you kind of overload it, yeah, but I don't get necessarily the best squeeze on it comparatively to using the cables.
Yeah. Would you say you've seen more gains in your forearm strength or ability to hold stuff since training it more? Would you say it's been a good side fact from it?
Yeah, I think my barbell rows have especially gone up a lot. Those kind of deadlifts was probably about the same, but barbell rows, as far as being able to grip forward like that and hold them in place, and then the reverse grip curls with an easy bar, straight bar, too. There, I can tell in those positions that forearm movements helped me a lot. What about yourself?
Yeah, I would say I definitely feel more like even hitting like a lat pull down after training something like that a little more consistently. I just feel like my grip is a little stronger, so like I don't feel like giving out or the need for like a wrist wrap at that time as quick. So I would say benefits are there. I just need to be more consistent with just adding them in on some random accessory pieces, truthfully.
There you go. Yeah, that's fair. Like, there it is something people forget about, but that's like also, yeah, I think that's the one thing people see out of your shirt is your forearms. So you can't forget.
Can't
Got to
neglect.
hit them a little bit, you know. uh,
Which one are we going to next here,
uh,
Rad? We doing back or we doing chest?
we'll do. We'll go back first. What's your go-to back exercise?
Oh, and Lord forgive me because I'm not gonna know the name of this machine either. I think you guys have one down at the factory as well, but it's plate loaded. And there's
Yeah.
handles on the inside of it, and you sit and there's a seat that's got like your butt rest against it, so you put like your low back and butt up to it, and you sit like it's a barbell row, but it's a machine. It's plate loaded.
Yeah.
We have one of those at Evo, and I've been substituting those lately for like a T-bar just because it kind of has that same angle of rotation, but it doesn't make you have to pick anything up dead off the ground. And I think personally, since doing those instead, I've had way better pumps. My back has responded a lot better, so I definitely feel like my pump's looking better. I definitely feel like I'm hitting more of my lat in that, and it kills your lats, dude. So I've been really rocking with that lately. Like I said, could not tell you the name of the machine. Could describe it to you. Couldn't draw a picture because I'm not an artist, but it's a good machine. What about you?
Yeah, those machines are tough to beat. I think mine's got to be the Prime Extreme Row, the 3 tension points on there and everything. I like something about when you're able to adjust the chest pad for yourself, getting that full stretch, and then driving through, and then the handles can like move around for you. So when you're stretched, you can be here, but you can pull it in, keep your hands in tight. That one probably has been my favorite. Like I like lat pull down was like like a good lat pull down or assisted pull up is like kind of there with it too. But I had to pick one of the three. I had to go with that extreme row for myself because the different like angles they can hit and like adjusting the seat and then the chest piece there can allow you to vary so much more on stretches and stuff like that. It's really nice.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and for the viewers and listeners that don't know like prime machines, do you want to go a little bit more in depth on like those? You're talking tension points, but to
Yeah,
them, like
yeah.
what do you mean by those tension points?
So the top is your lift off. There's going to be three prongs. Top's your lift off, middle is normal, and then the bottom is the lockout. Like so, you're squeezing the back. And depending where you have the weight, if you have a weight here, it's going to be harder lifting it off. Here is going to be normal, like any other machine you use. And then the third one will be like if you have a squeezing point, you have more tension there. So it also helps if you have a problem with, in my opinion, like if you have a problem like getting a good squeeze in a certain item, like these you could use those Prime machines because like maybe you feel everything else but the squeeze. Now you can overload the squeeze part of it, and then everything else can be kind of normal. Or maybe the lift off portion of it, you always have a problem lifting off certain things, and you can train that portion of a lift with those machines as well.
Yeah, dude, they're so unique. They're so freaking cool.
Yeah.
Like they're such good machines.
Not many commercial gyms will have them, but a lot of the private gyms and a little bit more bodybuilding-esque gyms will have them.
Yes, sir.
So now, one of your favorites. What's chest looking like for Asa?
Dude, chest. God, I love chest, man. I don't even know where to start. I think this reminds me. It just makes me feel like an old school bodybuilder. As corny as it is to say this, but I love an incline Smith bench, dude. I absolutely love it. I think the stretch you get, I think the pump you get, I think once again, overloading weight to a certain degree and having a fixed bar pattern makes it a lot easier to hit the exercise right. So personally, yeah, I think if you made me do one chest movement and that was it, dude, it'd be incline Smith machine bench forever, dude, forever.
To the moon, huh?
To the moon, my guy, to the moon. What are you thinking about?
Since I don't want to necessarily quite fuck them in. I get mine in the dumbbell variation. I would like to say like the hammer, like kind of hammer grip incline dumbbell press, but since you did an incline, I'd have to say the flat hammer press is probably one of my go-tos. Takes your shoulders a little bit more out of it, allows you to kind of press through with your chest a little bit more, and then it works in the triceps because you're a little bit closer in. So you kind of double down with that. I do like those a lot. I can't go quite as heavy just for the where I'm at in here, but it still allows me to get a nice stretch of my chest, a little more explosive and stuff like that. And like I said, it takes that tension from when you're out here, tucks it in more,
Yeah.
so you can squeeze that, because the inner part of my chest as well has also been kind of a one of the areas I need to work on a little bit more. And I know incorporating that along with a couple other movements, it's helped a lot.
Dude, let's go, man. Let's go. What are we doing next? Which one?
Abs. What are you doing for abs?
Now, I do, for reference, I try to hit them 3 times a week. I hit them days off, and then I hit them on leg day, just because I like the way it helps decompress my spine a little bit. Personally speaking, I think something that's beat me the most, but has made me feel the best, is an ab wheel, like ab rollouts. I think, as unconventional as they are, and you don't see a lot of people doing them, like you'll see a chunk of them, but not a lot. I think it's really underrated because it really tests your core strength and ability to be able to use your weight and strength to roll out and then roll back in. So I'm gonna go ab wheels. Give me the ab wheel every day.
Do you like to do them with an actual little wheel, or do you do them with, like, I've seen people do a barbell with weight on them? Like, how are you kind of setting that up? Are you going on the turf? Are you doing regular gym floor?
Yeah.
Where are you setting up?
Yeah, I typically set up on our turf, and then I use the actual ab wheel itself. I haven't really adventured out to like using a barbell with weights on the side or anything like that, just because I've been getting such a good burn, such a good squeeze in my abs from like an actual ab wheel. So I think, to me, as long as I have that feeling, I'm gonna keep just rocking with the ab wheel and just keep setting it up on the turf.
Nice. I think for me, as much as they suck, I'm going to have to go with planks. I think planks overall, yes, is not like they're tough, but I think the benefit of, well, one, your core, obviously working it, but then also being able to have that foundation built for squats and deadlifts and things like that. If you're still doing them in your program, planks is a good way to help you figure out how to brace properly as well. And then you can do the normal front plank or side plank, and so you can do either side and things like that. But I think planks are probably the best, in my opinion, for overall, and incorporating other lifts as well too.
Yeah. All right. Which is next? Are we doing the front or the back of the leg?
I'll go quads. What's your quads looking like?
Oh, dang, dude, that's so tough. Oh, I don't hit them as frequently as I do hacks, but I'm gonna have to go pendulum squats. I think the burn you get out of them things are second to none. I love training them because it's like the pattern you train with that is like it's so non-conventional. Like you don't do that really in any other form of training. So it's like to have a machine that allows you to literally sweep your legs like that and absolutely kick the crap out of them. 12 out of 10. Give me more of it.
And the knee flexion you get from them too is a lot better. And then, like, so they took pretty much with that pendulum squat, they took the good part of a V squat, if people know what the V squat is. The V squat, normally your feet are out and you can't hit depth really if you're using it, comparatively to a pendulum squat, which it has the same kind of momentum, but you're going in at a half crescent instead of back. So you're able to hit a lot easier and get a lot more quad flexion with it. So it does really help get the full stretch if you're not going to do barbell squats going forward. I would have to say, for me, the hack squat probably have to be. I've been liking that a lot lately. If you've seen it on Instagram, I've been doing a lot more. But I think that movement, if you have a good hack squat, it's hard to beat. And like whether you're using like a foam pad underneath your back to help you out or band a little bit, wherever you're using to kind of do that. But I think for me, like the overall feeling about it, like I can feel pretty comfortable being locked in, that knowing my back's kind of set up with that. As far as going down, the one that's hard to find, my favorite hack squat is the old school Cybex, where you're pretty much almost upright, but you can't find those too much anymore. So if I get a good decent one where I can actually lay in it, not the little hip ones that you see a lot of these gyms have now, but the full laying hack squat, I would say that would probably be my go-to for quads. I can spam that a lot and do a lot of, like, as much as it kicks your butt on it, it's really good workout, along with pendulum squat, since you took that one with that. But
Yeah. That's the crazy thing too, is like all the different formations they have for a hack machine now. because to your point, I love the same style that you like to use. But when I was training at Mountainside in Arizona, they had one that was like something I'd never. It felt like I was getting in a spaceship almost, like because you were just basically straight up and down, and then when you'd have them levers release, you were in full control of your destiny in that hack squat. So it's just crazy that all these different brands and all these different variations, but yet they all kind of help achieve a similar goal.
Yep. I think I'm going to throw an honorable mention in there, though, the free swing. If you have a free swing squat, if you have I've only been to one gym that's had one, and that one to me will beat the pendulum squat. But since it's very, 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 very hard to find, I think that you can't mention it if it's not that easy to find. Iron Alliance in Burnsville's got it in Minnesota, but that's the only place I've used it, and that I had no knee problems. It was just you're down in there, can load it up. The only thing that's kind of the reason why they stopped making them is the hooks in the back get kind of sketchy. If they get off us a little bit, you can't react the weight that easy. So
Risky out of tape.
That's overall, that's a good one. Hamstrings. I think you know which one I'm going to pick here.
I think and sadly you might have to reevaluate, because I think the best one, and kudos to you for putting me onto it in this formation, but a straight leg deadlift off the pitch shark goes hard in the paint, guy. And full props to Jared on that. Jared showed me that forever ago, and since then it's been a staple in my leg day. My hamstrings have never hurt worse. It's awesome. They've developed 1,000 times better. And the pit just allows you to get that range of motion that it just feels like nothing else, and it moves like butter most time. It's such a good exercise overall. So give me the pit, straight leg deadlift.
I think that's that one. I added in. I learned it from my friend Braden. I seen him doing it one day when I switched over to Muscle Factory from Vasa, and I seen him doing it. I've seen other people do it before, but I was never in person at this point. So I went over and talked to him. I was like, "Hey, does this really work really well?" And he's like, "Yeah, and it takes your body, your back out," which I agree. It's that you don't really feel it in your low back at all. When you're doing, especially, and it's easier to control the weight down as well when you're on those a smaller bar. I usually stand on the 1-inch platforms as well, just to get that little extra distance for myself, so I'm not bottoming the machine out and get my full range of motion. But I stand on those, and it's good stretching the back part of the hamstrings. Last time we were up in Fargo, we hit that. I think since you chose that one, this is a really good one. I think a lot of people should try it, but make sure you take your time and go into it slowly. Don't because the weight goes up fast on it, and it's a lot tougher unless you've worked at it a little bit. But I think the seated hamstring curl, would probably be my seated hamstring curl machine would probably be my one there. I either start my leg workouts with it or finish my hamstring days with that, and doing that full stretch of your legs out when you curl in and stuff like that, and letting it slow control, just count 3 seconds up, rest a second, explode back. That's kind of what I usually do. Either warms me up for when I get into hack squat, pendulum squat, whatever it might be, or I can use it at, like I said, on my hamstring days. I use that as kind of a main exercise besides the pitch shark RDL or barbell RDL. If I bounce back forward, I'm on the pitch or back on the pitch shark now. They're going forward. But they're very, very good. Those seated leg curls are my probably go-to for that.
Yeah, I think that's such a good movement too, just for anybody, just because you can fully control that and really getting a good squeeze at the bottom of that exercise can set your hamstrings on fire quick if you're taking your time through the motion. So that is a stellar pick. That's an S tier pick in my opinion too. So
yeah, I think if I remember right, it's the only leg curl that hits a certain muscle. I can't remember it off the top of my head. When you're fully extended, is the only time that activates a certain muscle. I can't remember. I've seen it. Chris Bumstead and then the Standard 6 guy were talking about it on Instagram. I can't remember the guy's name. He's from Arizona here, but he created a program with CBUM. They're talking about the way that you extend out. But I don't want to butcher the shit out of it, so I'm going to depth. Now, everyone's least favorite, calves.
Yeah. Calves are like that silly little thing you like to put in the corner and then just remind yourself you still got to take care of. I think before I get into it, definitely a little soapbox is you got to train them regardless who you are. Don't not train calves. Like you want a well-rounded physique when you want to hit that dream of yours, and that's definitely going to need to be a piece. So whoever's out there listening, take a piece from this podcast episode, train your calves. Train them, please. We all do. We all need to. But I think I'm very, very simplistic with how I train calves. I don't think you need to get super complex with them. I'm a plate loaded seated calf raise guy. I think being able to fully control your foot when it kind of hits that bottom and pump it and squeeze to the top and really take your time going back down, unmatched. So I think I'm gonna have to roll with a plate loaded seated calf raise.
So that was a good one. I don't know what mine's called. It's very similar if you were doing a leg press, but you're seated, and then you have the thing out in front of you, and you kind of like the foot roll back on you.
Yeah.
I like that one because I can stretch my ankles and I can push overextend as well, without having to like completely like put my whole body on there. It's like pushing just the weight and focusing on the calf where you're seated. It's almost like you're pushing on a leg press for calf raises, but it's an actual machine. I can't remember the name of it. That's my favorite one because it lets me flex and then push forward with my foot and get through there and get a nice squeeze. And I don't need to go too crazy on it, but I can get like a nice controlled rep where I'm not feel like I'm like stopping at a certain point because my body is at or pushing through. The seated calf raise, I always cramp up though when you use them.
Dude.
Every time.
I'll be like half set in, like getting a good tempo going, and then I'll hit the top to flex through one, and I'll just feel my calf just go bing, and it just squeezes. And I'm like, oh, I'm like, god dang, you hurt. But it's such a good feeling when you're done.
Are you doing feet out, it's normal, in, or are you kind of bouncing back and forth? What are you doing with yours?
I'd say 70% of the time they're neutral, so normal. If I'm really just not feeling the connection that day, I push mine out. Like I don't go like super pigeon-toed with it, but like I go fairly like width-wise with it just to get a little more depth and allow my ankle to kind of move a little differently. And I've seen when I do that, I typically can get the mind-muscle connection right where it should be. So those are typically my two footwork patterns. What about you?
I keep mine mostly neutral. I'm just with my flat feet and stuff like that. I try and work on the ankle mobility a lot more.
Yeah.
Because like I feel like some of that won't work out for me that way. But also we kind of skipped over it. Glutes.
Ooh, easy, dude. I hate this exercise with a passion, but it will do everything in the world for you. Give me a Bulgarian split squat with dumbbells. I firmly believe, yes, it may work a little bit of everything, but I think with the right spacing in between that bench with your foot, I think your glutes can get activated and burned quick and very quick. So I think to me that's probably my favorite go-to. So I'm going to take a dumbbell Bulgarian split squat.
Okay. This is kind of tough because everyone says like hip thrusts and stuff, right? But I like I learned them as called like bridges off the floor. So you're not doing like a normal hip thrust setup at the bench. You're pretty much pressing from the floor as you hip thrust, and then you make like a bridge. And I think those ones for me work the best because it takes that extra momentum out of it. So I'm just driving from the floor up, squeezing my hamstrings and glutes the hardest I can in each rep. I think that was probably my go-to for that glute exercises.
Yeah, I don't obviously being in the amateur bodybuilding world. It's something I definitely need to continue to work on my glutes, but it's definitely not like a focal point. I'm not like a women's bikini competitor or anything. So like that's just not the most prevalent thing for me. But yeah, there's certain exercises that I think person programs like the two we just said, and I think you see some really good results through your glutes. So any honorable mentions for movements of any body part? I'll give you two. You can pick two exercises, any body part that just deserve all the hype. Put you on the spot here.
I think the dumbbell tricep overhead extension for triceps here when you press behind your head. I think one of those is a pretty elite move for your triceps. And then I think a pec fly for your chest. I think that one's going to be I think that's a nice variant where you can actually open it up the best you can. And then you come back through and squeeze really good and get that whole chest activated. So I think that would probably be my honorable mention of two exercises there that I would add in if you're going to do those.
Solid picks, dude. Really solid picks. It's tough.
What about yourself?
So tough.
Did I take yours?
You took one of them. You son of a gun. Oh, I I'm gonna go first exercise being a back exercise. It's like a
Yep.
I'm blanking on the actual name of what it is, but it's like a decline row machine. You know, you sit into this like front facing bench and you're like kind of the handles are low, so it's like a low to high row basically. I
Mm.
think one of those
The
being
seal, it's a seal,
what's that?
the seal row. Was a seal row?
I think something of that nature sounds more correct, but I think that plate loaded, and I think the way my traps feel within that too, like not my upper trap by any means, but like my more mid back trap piece, I think they respond really well to that. So I really enjoy that for just a good training piece. And then, oh, you took chest fly. I can't believe you did that to me. Give me, give me kind of a multi incorporator here. Give me a good dip, a nice dip, dude. I think if you want to develop your chest more, they're great. I think if you want to put more emphasis on a compound movement to help grow overall, they're great. So give me dips.
I agree. The dip was another one I was kind of going back and forth on before the pec flies, but the I think every like chest, if you're doing like a chest day or even a push day, I think you need that one press and one shaping movement. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think you could very well use the dip as that. The dip, and I've actually seen like I do assisted dips because I'm so fucking heavy doing regular ones, but I've been working at it, getting less and less resistance, obviously, and I'm getting stronger at them. But I think that helped get rid of a little bit more of the flabby chest, more so because you're able to stretch it here.
Mm-hmm.
And when you come through and you squeeze, you can actually incorporate your chest more, getting into that way. But I think that one is a very good one as well.
Yeah, I think it's important too, kind of like you noted, like for anybody that's listening and thinking like, oh, well, they said dips, or like you had mentioned like a pull-up variation earlier. A lot of gyms offer an assisted variation of that, and I think regardless how you may feel you look doing it, it's still great to do. Everybody, and to this point, sometimes I still do like a assisted dip. It just depends on the day. It depends on the fatigue. It depends on how a person's feeling. They're just such great exercises that it's just such a good thing to be able to incorporate into your daily. I have a couple clients myself where they're like, dude, I can't do a dip. It's like, well, that's great, but this machine can allow you to if you take some of your actual body weight from that total. And they love it because it allows them to kind of mimic that exact motion and get through those points and get the pump and get that feeling. So, yeah, I think really, really good to kind of bring up the fact that an assisted machine is still a very, very good machine.
Yep. And I think if you can't find a tension that works for you for weight wise, if you're doing assisted dip, for instance, you can start with the dip machine and get your triceps kind of used to that movement.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can get into yourself, like once you kind of work at that for a little bit, but you should challenge yourself every few weeks to kind of see if you can just reduce the weight a little bit. That's what I try and do. I try and go a couple weeks. I went from doing, I think, like 220 off my body weight up to now I think I do like 110
Dude, heck
or
yeah.
something like that. So I mean, like they kind of dropping that, but like even then, like that, like it takes a little bit to get to that point for that. I do less with the pull-ups now. I have a stronger back, obviously, but with that, and like the dip one was always one I struggled with, so I had to kind of start my way up, just get myself more used to the movement and everything, and like, yeah, I think if it needs to be worked that way, that's how you should handle it. But
Yeah, I think we picked some solid slates of movements. If I'm gonna be super honest with you, I think that was pretty impressive on both of our ends. I'll give us that. All right.
yeah,
And
I think
anybody, what's that?
go ahead. Oh, no, go ahead.
I was saying, I think to anybody listening too, if it something you hear from us that you've never done before that kind of sparks you to try it, give it a try. Tag us. If you have questions, reach out to us. We absolutely love doing this and we love posting this kind of stuff. So like, as you guys want to try new things or hear something from us that kind of sparks your innovation to try, we're super easy to find. Come get in touch with us. Come let us know how you're liking them. I just can't stress it enough. Trying different things or hearing something that might be new to add to your routine is such a great thing to do. And Jared and I both have done that in our programs as we've continued to develop as lifters. So we love spreading that type of stuff.
Well, I'll add on one thing here. What was like, if you had, when you started lifting, what was your one area that you struggled with, and what was the movement you did to get that area specifically up?
Yeah.
Like, so if you did shoulders, chest, triceps, bicep, whatever it is, what was the one exercise that you know has really helped? Because like, if a beginner is watching this and they want to throw one exercise in, maybe they are struggling with the same movements. What was it?
Yeah. I'm gonna get on a soapbox for a minute then, Jared. So,
You're good. You're good. You're
I
good.
think important piece too for anybody that's starting. Be willing to give yourself rest. As much as we are talking about our favorite exercises, it's extremely important to have an adequate period so you can recover, especially when you're fresh in this. Like you want to be able to get the most out of your lifts, so don't be afraid of rest days. My arms though, when I first started, dude, when I went from 300 pounds to 175 pounds, them things looked like twigs, and I mean they were all of this size. There was nothing to them, and I genuinely believe the key to growth was really working on my triceps, and I think a solid like incline barbell or flat barbell skull crusher went the distance with that. And similar to your point earlier, where it's like don't overload the weight, get comfortable with what you're doing before you worry about getting heavier, because you can get a really good workout with a 30-pound barbell. You don't need 80 pounds coming down to your skull to make your triceps grow. So if you're listening to this and you're like, dang, my arms just won't develop, I just don't know what's going on, I urge you to try that movement out if you are not already, and B, integrate some compounds. So anything that recruits more muscle groups together, like a dip, like we just talked about, or a close grip bench, or even like a shoulder press. You'll be impressed if you're not hitting that right now on your shoulder days, because that requires you to press through your triceps. So like I think, in my honest opinion, utilizing compound movements with like with a skull crusher really helped allow my arms to develop. How about you? Did you have something that you're like, dang, this needs to change, and you found a way?
I think mine. I neglected like when I first started lifting because being overweight and stuff like that we were talking about before. Like I was kind of like I didn't train shoulders like I should have. Like I think I went like a good like 6 months without really pressing or anything when I first started lifting. I didn't do any like I was just doing mostly chest press, which I get takes your front delt and whatever. But like I wasn't doing a physical overhead press or like of any kind of like dumbbell or barbell.
Yeah.
And I really liked. I fell in love with the strict standing barbell press. Is the one I liked a lot, just to build that in there because I can kind of control the negative down with both of them, without using leg drive. I was just trying to always get it like through the same portion of it. I think a lot of people kind of take it a little bit away when they use their leg to get the weight up instead of using just their shoulders to kind of press through because they want to ego lift a lot of it. Which I mean, I get we all went through those phases, so I'm not going to sit here and preach about that, but I think that overall, like that was probably the one movement that brought my stuff around, but also like it helped my just the tricep stability, and it also helped my incline chest pressing as well. I felt like moving forward, like just incorporating those in. I would say those are probably like one of the that was probably the one that I remember me a little bit. And I just got off the phone with my friend Colton, the guy that got me into lifting, and he said now he's incorporating more shoulder stuff in because he wasn't doing as much, and he realizes like how much more his like incline pressing has gone up and a couple other exercises since he started working on his shoulders a little bit more as well too. So that's a big thing for him. So
yeah, I think with what you said, backpedaling into it a little bit, I think one, touching on the terms of ego lifting, I think it's important. Like you said, we've all went through the phases where we thought we were stronger than the world. It's going to happen to everybody. It's definitely just something that we as people do. You get into something new, you want to be the best, you crave to be the best. Sometimes it doesn't always look the best the way you're doing it. Absolutely. But I also think what I really enjoyed that you touched on is very much so, depending on your goal, the utilization of like a leg drive. Like for us, for example, we want to develop like our shoulders. So to us, that means we need to remove that leg out of it because we want our shoulders to take the brunt of that workload. Whereas take someone, went through our situation of like losing all that weight, but maybe they're an athlete now. Maybe there's something and they want that explosiveness or power. I think it's also important to note that if you need that leg drive, utilizing it isn't going to be the end of the world either through that movement if you're trying to train for a different goal.
Yeah, I agree. I think that just depends on your goal, like you said. I just feel a lot of people that aren't even like if you go to commercial gyms, especially people that aren't doing it for any sort of sport though, and they're doing a lot of it. Like you think, like I get you want to lift big weights and stuff like that, but on the other hand too, if you're just doing it for overall fitness purposes, you got to kind of watch for yourself too, and then not worry so much about like I know it can be hard, especially in the commercial gym, to do that. Get through those kind of things. So I think we've all been there. But once you go to an actual like bodybuilding style gym, if you want to call it that, or a little more hardcore gym, you realize it doesn't really matter as much. I think it's just all the egos kind of colliding in one space like that sometimes in those commercial gyms that get people to do those things and ego lift and stuff. But
Absolutely.
I think overall, like I think you just if you're gonna focus on building up a long term thing, you gotta try and focus on more of those muscle groups instead of just flinging weight around.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's crucial to have some self-awareness and identify what needs to grow and develop within your physique to allow you to just continue to grow at the end of the day. I think that's huge. So, Jared, anything you want to add to the viewers before we start wrapping this episode up here?
Yeah, a couple of things. Some people have reached out to us about doing like protein bars and pre-workouts. Eventually, we will be doing that. Moving forward, we're just kind of tackling energy drinks and stuff right now. I know comparatively, you don't take much pre-workout anymore compared to like what I take a normal pre. You take more of the pump side of things. I had a couple people talk to me in one of my gyms about like, hey, you guys gonna review anything else other than just energy drinks? We are. It's just we're not in that portion of it yet. We're kind of getting through our ranking list here in February when you and I are together here recording some podcast stuff. We'll start working on our like tier lists and things like that, energy drinks. And when we have that more dialed, then we can explore into more of the pre-workouts and protein bars. The tough thing with the protein bars is availability for everybody. Like, and I might have some here, you might have some there, vice versa, and stuff like that. We will do those eventually, but I think it's just moving forward right now. We're on the caffeine side of things, and then establishing that, and we'll kind of branch off with a few more things, especially when we start doing more when we have guests and things like that on, down the line. But right now we're just establishing our identity with that. So be patient with us on that. But other than that, I think that's pretty much it. And we appreciate the support, obviously, with everybody and feedback. It's a lot of help.
Yeah. End of the day, like, once again, thank you everybody who listens, who subscribes, who likes, who comments, who reposts. We could not appreciate you guys more for helping share our mission and our goals and what we enjoy doing and how much we enjoy interacting with all of you, because of you guys, it allows us to continue to do this and post more content and get more creative. And like Jared said, when it comes up in February, we have a boatload of ideas that there's going to be a lot of short form content coming. So you guys better be ready for some really wild videos coming out from the Caffeine Bros page, and it's going to be a great time. But at the end of the day, we could not do it without you guys. Thank you so much. Like I said, if you're not subscribed already and you're listening, we encourage you to subscribe to stay up to date with us. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Facebook. We're on Twitter, or X they call it now. Whatever that may be.
Yeah.
We're virtually everywhere, I'd like to believe. So if you want to find us for something in support, we would be greatly appreciative of it. And I think that about does it for the episode today, big guy.
So you want to tell me what's a rest day? I heard you bring that up earlier. What's a rest day?
You might want to Merriam-Webster that one. I'm not good with that. Rain check, please. But yes.
I think it was a good way to end this episode, and I appreciate everyone support so far. So
yeah, Jared, Caffeine Bros to the Moon.
Yes, sir.